my talk. Here we go. How he said he living life as a gringo. Where you question where you fit in every time you mingle. They say you do this with not enough that. My rapping is really bad. This life as a gringo.
Yes, hello and welcome to another episode of Life as a Gringo. I am Dramos, of course, and man, it is not just another episode of Life as a Gringo today. It is the season 2 finale of the show, which is just crazy to even be saying right now. We are at the end of season 2. That means we have recorded 200 plus episodes of this little podcast here. And man, I just wanted to take a moment to kind of live within that and just have some honest conversations with y'all. And first and foremost, I'm very, very happy and grateful for the fact that we will be having a season 3. It has been renewed by my partners at the Cultura podcast network, along with iHeartRadio. So just incredible stuff. I'm so grateful to them for believing in us from the start and continuing to stand behind this podcast and the vision that I have for it. And to answer questions, we will be off for a couple months. I know a couple of you have reached out saying, what are we gonna do the in between time? I have a bunch of different things planned. But we also have the Street Stoic podcast, which is my other podcast, and that airs daily. So you can check that out Monday through Friday. We are on the 2nd season of that inspirational podcast. I'm really proud of it. So definitely, check that out and keep that up and popular. So maybe we can do a 3rd season of that as well. But definitely something to hold you over until we get back with Life as a Gringo. Also, I've written 2 books at this point. It'll be 4 by the end of the year. So justbe.nyc. You want to pick those books up. It's an extension of me. You want to follow me at DJ Dramos on social media. We can keep up. And I got an event, actually. I might as well just say it now. I mean, while we're at the top of the show, I got your attention here. We're going to be doing a free live virtual event. I'll be recording a talk special, a spoken word special. I think the date we landed on is going to be December 19th. I'm just confirming. If you're watching the video version of this and I'm on my phone, it is because I'm just confirming. Yeah. So December 19th, a Tuesday. I'm going to be by, I believe, like 8 p.m. We're going to do it live, virtual, via Zoom. And you can come check that out. It's going to be like a live spoken word, like a talk. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I had done some speaking engagements recently. So we're going to do that virtually for anybody who wants to check it out anywhere in the world that you might be. So December 19th. I'll be posting about that on my socials, but save that date for us. And man, yeah, so kind of getting back now, I'm out of promo mode and just talking about the podcast. And I thought it was a good time to have a conversation about gratitude. That's something we've touched on a bunch before, but, I get really nostalgic in moments like this one. And, I hate that it takes the end of something or, when we're having a break from something in order for me to really be reflective and express my gratitude for being able to be a part of this particular situation. But I think that's how it's, unfortunately, as human beings, how we're kind of wired. We're moving so fast that it's hard for us to really be appreciative in the moment and be in the moment and expressing, that gratitude in the present moment, but I just wanted to kind of have an episode here as we close out and just express my utmost gratitude for this opportunity and the blessing that has been Life as a Gringo. And this isn't going to be like just one big thank you. I kind of want to just give you an insight into my own head about where I was when we started this podcast and where I am now and just how crazy life is. And I hope it serves as an inspiration for anybody, no matter where you are in your life, of your capability of creating all that you seek, and even, beyond the maybe monetary value of things or beyond the accolades of career stuff, but in your creation of all that you seek, the beauty that comes with you sort of being able to tap into your authenticity and really find yourself in the process, right? I think that's more important than any external successes you might have on a creative project. I think that's something that's lost, is the idea of finding yourself. And that's really, I think, the real reward in all of this stuff, right? So I already find myself like getting out of this train of thought. So I'm gonna just kind of do a long mi gente segment today as we talk about gratitude and all that comes along with just walking your path, right? So let's get into this mi gente segment.
Mi gente.
So I kind of was touching on it there, but just kind of backtracking a little bit. Let's take it to end of 2020 when the opportunity for possibly having my own podcast kind of comes to play, And at that point, 2020 was kind of like my year of really finding myself and then getting a couple opportunities to explore it deeper, right? I think I found myself at the height of the pandemic doing like the Instagram lives. And if you've been following this show or my socials, you're very familiar with that stuff. But I found my voice and I became comfortable more so in who I am. And then that led to the sort of digital TV show on LA TV, which then, eventually kind of in doing that work and honing my voice a bit leads to kind of a credible opportunity in being a part of iHeart's first ever Latin podcast network, right? My Cultura. Kind of at the top of 2020, and if this is redundant for anybody, I apologize, but just kind of setting the stage for how far we've come. And I say we because you all are a part of this journey. But at the top of 2020, I was going to walk away from media entirely. I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled in my work. I couldn't sort of justify the lack of fulfillment with sort of the access that the job gave me, right? The proximity to celebrity, how people were interested in who I am and how that played a part in all of like my validation needs, right? That sort of well began to dry up. It wasn't really, quenching my thirst anymore. And I was really just getting down to the idea of not doing work that truly fulfilled me and that being the issue. And I was genuinely like looking at any other opportunity I could to kind of walk away from working in radio and media. I was applying for jobs at record labels and kind of hitting up some connections that I had there. I was, fantasizing about moving to Puerto Rico and opening a vintage clothing store and just a lot of different sort of things like that. And, then you sort of fast forward, and I think as the pandemic happened, for whatever reason, I began to just kind of regain my inspiration. There's a book by Clinton Sparks called How to Win Big that I think really began to like clarify the process, which re-inspired me in wanting to use my voice. And that excited me, I think, once again, But the pandemic really hits. George Floyd's murder becomes, kind of the thing that's on everybody's timeline. There's like this empowerment in using our voice that kind of happens. And within that, I begin to kind of really, I think, hone my craft a bit, And I'm going to fast forward because I know this is like really redundant for anybody who knows my story already. But I was at a point in my life, and we're talking about 3 years ago. I was at a point where I had lost DJing because of the pandemic, which was at that point probably the majority of my salary. So I was living check to check, just living off of a really bare bones radio salary. Right at the time, I think I was making like $45,000 a year, which living in the New York, New Jersey area is not much at all. I was just barely surviving, And I had, obviously, there's the glitz and glamour of it all, of being at the Breakfast Club and all the access it gives you, opportunities. But that's what I was making. I just wasn't happy and fulfilled. Again, 3 years ago. Not much money in my bank account at all. Again, living paycheck to paycheck. Not doing anything that really fulfilled me, and I'm kind of bringing all this up because this podcast and the opportunity that came with it and the freedom and the belief in myself that was given to me by everybody at my Cultura, Giselle, particularly, who granted me this opportunity and believed in my voice and my idea. It was kind of like the saving grace that I needed to finally begin walking in my path for real. And prior to that, LATV, I think, was a great sort of stepping stone as well, and a great validation for that. I have to give a shout out to them because they definitely believed in me very early on, in giving me an opportunity, and um, it just was exactly what I needed at the time. So that was definitely a good predecessor to that. But stepping into this podcast and being in complete creative control of it, pretty much, and it being my own vision, right? Whereas with LATV, I was sort of joining a TV idea that was already in existence, and they needed a host. And I had creative input, but I didn't name the show, and I had producers and a vision for it that I kind of had to work within. Life as a Gringo has been the first real project that is completely sort of my own brainchild, and then the partners kind of came in and helped me execute on it, if you will, right? And what I'm kind of trying to get at with this sort of long-winded backstory, and if you read the podcast reviews, people say I'm long-winded. I get it. That's part of my thing, and I'm okay with it. But I think Life as a Gringo has been the greatest gift, not only because of what it's led to freedom of time-wise, financially, platform, community with all of you who listen, but I think it was like the thing that finally said, you can be unapologetically yourself and still be successful. And I had little tidbits of sort of that information, or people showing me that could happen. The Breakfast Club was a part of that, right? Unapologetic voices for their community, finding great success is kind of how I would sum up the Breakfast Club. But it was the first time somebody really believed in me by myself, my own idea that I created, and was just there to support it. And as somebody who struggles with feelings of not being enough at times, this was just that extra thing that I needed to kind of kick it into overdrive and really go on this larger journey of self-love. This is more than just a podcast for me. I hope that it is for you as well. This is really me planting my flag in this world and saying this is who I am, and inviting whoever resonates with that to kind of come join me on this journey. Yeah, as I kind of sit here and just reflect on it, man, I'm a little bit overcome with emotion and just proud. Just so proud of myself and how far I've come, and grateful that I never gave up on myself, and grateful that everybody who listens, everybody behind the scenes, that all of you have kind of rallied behind me, and you've helped make this kid's dream come true. I think that's why I have such a soft spot for anybody who struggles with a lack of fulfillment, or is walking a path that just doesn't feel right for them, has dreams of doing something otherwise, can't seem to figure it out. Because the reality is, guys, I didn't find, credible success or personal fulfillment until my 30s. This has been a really long road for me. Pretty much all the people I came up with gave up a long time ago. And honestly, rightfully so. I had to sacrifice a lot of my personal life to make this dream happen, and I don't regret it. But this road has been really fucking hard. I think my point in sharing that, and I know I'm kind of like deviating all over the place here, but I think you have to give yourself props for how far you've come, and part of me is doing that now. I'm trying to, express gratitude for myself and the younger version of myself who kept putting in the work and was really, incredibly disciplined in prioritizing the work. Maybe too much so sometimes. But I don't know. I think I want to be open and honest about the journey to making things actually happen, to bringing an idea from your mind, to actually bringing it to fruition, to bring it to like the real world. There's this like glorification that happens. Follow your dreams and, whatever. You'll never work a day in your life and all these different quotes and shit like that, right? But I feel like not enough people touch on the level of sacrifice. Like I watched as all my friends achieved these sort of career and adult, personal, business, career-wise, whatever, milestones that they're supposed to check off the boxes in their late 20s, early 30s, while I was still trying to figure it out. I lost a lot of friends along the way because I couldn't be a good friend because all of my focus was on my career. And any free time I had was, again, repurposed towards my career. As you get older and as people start moving into the next milestones of their life and you're not always included or you're maybe an afterthought at this point, it is a bit of a gut punch. You question a lot of the decisions you made, the sacrifices that you made, the things that you prioritized over others, right? A lot of times for the most part, prioritize my career over even my own family life, parents and time with them and family time in general. I don't regret it because the alternative would have been me feeling incredibly unfulfilled. And I feel blessed that I have the awareness to sort of say, okay, we've built a solid foundation in doing what we love. Now, let's keep building, but do it in a way that we have balance. But I couldn't get to that point without having to put the years of sacrifice, a decade plus of sacrificing everything and anything for the sake of chasing my dream. And I want to have a real conversation with anybody listening to this. Because I'm not some guru. I'm not somebody who has it all figured out. I've made so many mistakes. I'm going to keep making mistakes. But I'm grateful for those mistakes. And even, truthfully, it's like everybody says, oh, I'm happy that I didn't get success overnight and all these things. I wouldn't have known what to do with it. And it's easy to call bullshit on that. Of course, I want to find success as quickly as possible and not have to deal with all the pain. But when I zoom out, all of that pain and disappointment and sacrifice has made me somebody who has a life experience that I can then lend inspiration to others, which is the most fulfilling thing for me. And if everything would have come to me easily, as expected, without sacrifice, I wouldn't really have much of a story to tell. I wouldn't have a means to be empathetic for people who are going through it. It wouldn't really be all that inspiring of a story. I wouldn't have the impact that I hope that I have on anybody who listens to this or follows me. And it's a privilege to have tasted some sort of success to then be able to be grateful for all the lessons along the way, right? That's definitely a privilege. Not everybody can say that. Some people are still grinding it out and not having, real taste of success. But yeah, I think just, I guess, takeaways. I hope that you are able to kind of catch on my journey, and with this podcast, like Life as a Gringo is like, it's me connecting with people that I find interesting, that I want to learn from. It's me just being open and honest, and being vulnerable with you. It's me trying to inspire people. It's all of those things. Me sharing my own personal growth, right? In various ways, from within my Latinness, our culture, to being a human being, to whatever it might be, just getting older, whatever it is. Like, this is so much more than just like a podcast of I don't know, just random information. Um, this is kind of like me sharing my life with you, and hoping that we're connecting within that, and you're finding a bit of yourself in that story, and your own inspiration to keep pushing. But I think, to kind of put a pin in the idea that I'm talking about, with like the sacrifices and everything like that, your goal or your dream is not going to be easy. You're going to have to make a lot of really difficult decisions. And I'm not trying to talk you out of anything, but I also want to be real with you. Like, I hate self-help, the terminology of it, because there's like this glorification of it, and they paint it with this like glitter brush, like everything is fucking sunshine and rainbows, or that it was so easy to bounce back from having nothing. It's like, you make sacrifices every day of your life to do what you love doing. I mean, you're making sacrifices to do something you hate, which is a whole other conversation, right? You're spending 8 hours away from the people you love the most just to sit in a place that you hate because you need the paycheck, right? That's a sacrifice in itself. So sacrifices are relative, but you have to be willing to give up just about everything in your life for your dreams. And I'm not saying you're going to have to give up everything in your life for your dreams. I hope that you don't have to give up anything. But it's just unrealistic to think that you're going to achieve something without giving something up. But my point being, you have to have that love for it. And if you don't, then you're not going to find success in whatever it is that you're chasing. And that's not necessarily a knock on you. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, I want to be bowling with my friends every weekend or every Wednesday night, whatever. I want to be sitting down to dinner with my family every single night. I want to be doing this, and that, have free time to play video games, blah, blah, blah. If that is a high priority to you, then God bless you. You figured that part out. And again, I believe life is all about balance, but I think initially, when chasing what you want, the balance isn't going to be the top priority. It just can't be. I don't see how that could happen. The balance comes when you are finding yourself on more solid ground. But in the beginning, you're just scrambling to build something. You're doing your best. I don't say that to scare you or to diminish your dreams. I just want to be real about it, because I've sacrificed a hell of a lot to be sitting here with you. I don't regret it, but there are times where I do question it. There are times where there are those gut punches. Again, like when your friends are having milestones and you're not necessarily a part of it, and you have to recognize that you just weren't a great friend the last few years to expect to be a part of those things. I think a real conversation is, you can also just do things as like a side hustle or for fun if you're not willing to do that kind of sacrifice. And I feel like I'm bouncing around all over the place, with this topic of conversation. But this is what's on my mind right now, like reflecting on these last few years of just the journey, of a really long and hard journey. And I'm grateful. That's what I'm trying to get back to, because I'm also trying to make sure you're getting something out of it. It's not just me fucking using you as my therapist right now. But I'm grateful in this moment, as I wrap up the second season of my brainchild that is Life as a Gringo, knowing that we have a third season coming our way, knowing that I get to live another year of my dream. I'm grateful and I'm very reflective on all that it took to get here. I'm grateful for my journey and I'm grateful for everybody who listens to this. You know, truthfully, it's because of this podcast and the journey that it's taken me on and all of you who listen to it that I've really been able to walk this walk that I have right now, this confidence, right? And have been stepping into rooms, even like when I went to Miami for the Latin, the Fiesta Latina for iHeartRadio. I'm there with, the biggest Latin media personalities and artists that our culture has. Truthfully, I'm realizing this right now. I didn't have imposter syndrome. I had some nerves and things of that nature, but I felt like I belonged there. Regardless if certain artists didn't want to talk to me because they didn't want to talk in English, or there were other people who had never heard of me before, wondering why the hell I was given this opportunity. Like, none of that fazed me. I felt very much like, yeah, this is my moment. This is where I'm supposed to be. I have something to offer here. And I'm smiling as I'm saying that because I'm just like recognizing how fucking far I've come. But like, I'm so grateful for that growth right there. And I'm grateful for all of you listening because you've co-signed that for me. You've told me through your downloads and through your comments and your feedback, like, we need you here. This is a place for us to feel seen. And I just thank you so much for that. Like, I think I'm just trying to express like how much this podcast has impacted my life and allowed me to be me. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for everybody that's been a part of that journey. And I hope all of you find something in your life that unlocks that for you as well. And that's why I keep trying to like bring it back to like, what's the lesson to learn here and things like that. Because I want you to take away from this and feel inspired as well. Like, I want to go create my thing that makes me feel like that. Because guys, it's so fucking freeing and it's not perfect. I don't feel that way all the time, but man, it's wild when you stop and think like how far you've come and just how freeing it is to not feel like you have to play a role or a character. Even for example, and this isn't a knock on anybody, one of the producers behind the scenes when I was doing that Miami thing I was hosting was like, hey, you want to do like a sign off in like something in Spanish or whatever, and I was just like, no, and not like a disrespectful way. No, I appreciate the suggestion, but that's just not me. I don't do that. It's just not. That's not me authentically speaking. I don't ever do that. It feels forced. I'm good. And even a little moment like that is huge because I'm going against what's expected from the environment. And I'm saying, no, I'm not going to conform to what you deem to be the norm or what you expect. I'm me. You're going to have to come meet me where I am. That's so rare in this life for most of us to feel that confident in ourselves that we demand life to meet us where we are rather than us conforming to it. But that is how life is supposed to be lived. I think that's where the fulfillment, that's where the consistent happiness comes from, is you being able to take up that space and you being able to demand from life what you need rather than just endlessly and mindlessly trying to serve it and everyone that exists in it. And I'm just gratitude, man. It's just gratitude. I'm just kind of off on a tangent now, but I just want better for all of you that are listening, and I encourage you to keep pushing yourself past the discomfort and keep building up your tolerance towards just being able to show up as yourself, being able to brush off the side eyes and the side conversations that people might have about you, or whatever hate it might bring up, and understand that none of that truly matters, and I think we all know that, obviously, but reminding you to keep building up that tolerance, because that's what's going to allow you to move through life with, I think, this ease and this fulfillment. And again, doesn't mean there's not going to be moments that are difficult where you fall short. We're all human. But there is something special about the idea of like your life feeling like it's in harmony, and that the bad moments or the heavier ones are the rarity rather than the other way around, right? Rather than like your Monday through Friday is you just trying to make it through, and the weekends are your only sort of freedom. Imagine if your life was flipped the other way around, where majority of your time is spent living in that happiness and freedom, and then every once in a while you have that inconvenience you have to deal with. And that, I think, is the goal. And even if it's never perfect, if it's never completely realized, because life, it's imperfect and it never will be, you striving for that every day is just going to keep bringing more and more happiness and joy into your life, and more gratitude, I think, for where you are and the blessing that is every single day. So I don't know. That's just my random tangent that I wanted to leave you with this season. And I guess we'll tie everything we talked about today in a neat little bow in a segment we call Conclusions Still.
Time for conclusions too.
So final conclusion stew of season 2. We've done this over 200 times, including season 1. That's insane. I just wanted to have an honest conversation with you in this podcast, and like I try to keep it topical for the sake of like you know what you're getting into when you listen to it. But I don't know. I wanted to just feel like if you were sitting across from me right now and you just asked me, what has this experience been like, or what are you feeling in this moment? That's sort of what you just heard. It's my honest thoughts on everything. And yeah, I'm just grateful, man. I thank you all so much for your support. And you know, the door is always open. I try to be as active on social media as I can. Sometimes I have to like take mental breaks where I just fall off the face of the earth just for my own mental health. But I'm always available at DJ Dramos. You know, we've got the Street Stoic podcast. Please go check that out if you haven't yet. Leave us a review. It would really mean a lot. It's a new podcast we're building up. We're in season 2 right now. It is a daily, you know, inspirational, motivational podcast, Monday through Friday, like 15-minute episodes to get your day started, combining ancient Stoic philosophy with hip-hop lyrics and quotes to inspire you. So the Street Stoic, wherever you find podcasts, and there's, you know, one full season of it. We're in the midst of the second season, so this will hold you over till we're back in February. I have a book, my wellness brand, justbe.nyc, to go check all of that out. And we're going to do a live event December 19th via Zoom. You can, I'll post it on my Instagram at DJ Dramos, and I'll give you all the info. You can just register. It's going to be completely free. I want to see all y'all out there. We're doing like a special. We're calling it a special. It's like a spoken word special, just talking about life and hopefully inspiring and motivating you along the way, and having some laughs and a good time together as well. So that's that. And man, this is so weird to say, but I'm going to take the next couple months off and regroup, you know, hopefully grow and heal after a crazy, crazy year. This year has definitely challenged me a lot, mentally, emotionally, career-wise, personally. And there's been so many damn lessons in it, you know, and it's probably been one of the most brutal years of mine in recent memory. But I'm amazed at the human being on the other side of it now, who has some really incredible ideas for the new year. And it's just a totally different person walking into it, and somebody I'm so proud of. So let that also be a lesson of the darkness we sometimes have to go through to really step into who we're meant to be. And it's not going to be the last time, you know, I face challenges, I'm sure, but each time it comes, I'm more equipped to handle it than the other. So I'm just grateful for it. And thank y'all for supporting me on this journey. I really do appreciate you guys. with that said, I will catch you in February for season 3 of Life as a Gringo. Remember, Street Stoic Podcast is here to hold you over. The Street Stoic. Go check that out. Go do it right now. Go search it, subscribe, leave us a review. I appreciate y'all. I love you so damn much. Make sure you stay in contact. I'm going to keep being active and trying to put content out there to hold us over until February. I'm also going to get some much needed just downtime to get some rest and some clarity. But thank y'all, for real. I'm not just saying this. Like, you guys are a part of this journey, and I can never thank you enough for just giving me the opportunity to, I don't know, come into your life a little bit, hopefully inspire you a little bit, and for you to support me in living my dream, and I don't know, hopefully helping elevate and, you know, continue to progress our community as a whole, which is always the most important thing. So thank y'all so much. I'll see you in February. Until then, stay safe. We will talk soon. Peace.